It's the end of summer, which means another big wave of LEGO drops. And I spent more time than I want to admit to pull out the ones that are worth your attention as an adult, plus a few gift options for you to keep in mind. These are just my opinions here, nothing official or anything like that, but let's see what's worth picking up and what we can totally pass on for now. Starting with sets under $100, we've got Munchlax from Pokemon. He's going to be the least expensive one out of the new wave for adults, and you'll be spending most of the time building his little tree stump, but I think that brings a bit more charm to the scene overall. If you look him up online, you'll see that he comes in a variety of colors in different forms of media, and you'll see that they did get this color spot on from this variation. I think he's a decent buy if you want something from the Pokemon line and you're a huge fan, at least in my own eye. You know, even though I'm not the biggest fan of LEGO busts, I've got to admit that they did a great job with the Venom one from Marvel. You also get a new Venom minifigure if you're into that sort of thing, and it's great. The build is a bit tedious, but I would say that the end result was worth it, and yeah, I think it's worthy to pop up on your desk for around $50. If you've been waiting for LEGO to finally do a hanging plant, well, we're getting one in this batch. And it does look like a real plant. I mean, that's kind of the whole point, but the pricing is pretty high for what you're getting. And for that reason alone, I'm going to mark it as wait for sale. But it's still worth it if you want some decor or are looking for a gift. Just don't expect much variety out of this one. However, I do think you'll get more value out of this dark flower arrangement if, value is what you're looking for. It's got a darker look, so it'll come down to your living room setup, but it looks like there's a lot going on in the build, which should keep it rather interesting. Now, if you're into the city sets as a hobby, which can be popular with adults, these are finally making their way to the US stores in August. I built all of them, and I would recommend the car wash, the beach street car, and the vintage steam train. But heads up on that train though, it's a pricey one. I do dig the design though, and I think it'll go pretty well with like a Winter Village collection sort of thing. If you're looking for gifts, we do have a ton of Pokemon sets that younger builders might get a kick out of. These are from LEGO's Smart Play line, so they make lights and sounds. It's kind of cool. They actually interact with each other. Some come with a smart brick and some don't. There is this Ditto gift with purchase as well if you're planning on picking these up. Even though my wife is addicted to Pokemon Pokopia and I haven't seen her for 6 months, we are passing up on these Smart Play sets since they're not really for us. Okay, I'm not super confident on who to recommend the one-piece sets for, but they can make for a great gift as well. We've got some coming this month, and I've seen the original anime, but not the Netflix one, so if this is your thing, it's something to keep an eye on. I did get a chance to build this Herbie robot from the Fantastic Four movie. I mean, if your friends or family are a fan of the series, this build was actually surprisingly enjoyable, and it has some neat interactive features that I wasn't expecting. It's definitely not my thing, but I can still recommend this as a gift. And out of the 2 Sonic sets in this batch, I did build both of them. The Tails airplane is the one that I would go with. Okay, let's move into the $100 to $200 price range, and we're going to kick things off with the iconic bounty hunter Boba Fett. It's going to be a personal preference on whether you like these types of models or not, but I think he's one of the best Star Wars character builds at this size. I built Iron Man from the Marvel side of things earlier in the year, which I was a fan of, and I've got to say that this build was much more interesting and enjoyable. I'm digging his tattered fabric cape, it's showing that he's definitely been through some things. Now, his feet are locked into place, but everything up top moves more than I expected, so you can actually pose him instead of just having him stand there. The price is pretty high up there for something like this, so I think most can wait for a sale, but if you're a huge Boba Fett fan, I think you can get this on day one. I'm going to mark it as a buy. Believe it or not, we finally got an X-Files LEGO set, and it's a good one. We have 2 builds in one box. Underneath, you get Mulder's office in the basement, and on top, there's this eerie UFO scene over some trees. I mean, look at these filing cabinets that sit half open, and that's a cool detail. It's kind of like they're in a hurry to find the info that they need. And there are Easter eggs absolutely everywhere you look. With that being the case, I'm going to mark it as a buy for die-hard or even casual fans, and I think the set is excellent. But if value is your thing, $200 is a lot for what you're getting, and in that case, definitely wait for a sale. Oh, and if you pick it up in the launch window, you also get Scully's Lab. It's a gift with purchase and not something that you can buy on its own, so if you want it, timing is going to matter. Keeping with the nostalgia run, we have a buildable E.T. character model from one of the most iconic movies ever made. I've got to say, I'm really impressed with the design. He's got his wrinkly skin, his long fingers, and I think they did a solid job with his face. The glowing heart is such a nice touch for this, and including the little flower pot also fits him well. I think it's a solid pickup if you're a longtime fan. From sci-fi to reality, this minifig scale Hubble Space Telescope is also hitting shelves in August, and I'm kind of torn on this one. I would have loved to have metallic pieces here instead of this gray color that they went with, but given that, I'm gonna say to wait for a sale, though if you're into the space stuff, it's still a great pickup. Alright, we're gonna take a hard right turn back into Pokemon land real quick with this Arcanine set. I definitely think this is one of the best looking things in the Pokemon line that we've had so far. For a little over $100, I don't think Pokemon fans can go wrong here. Moving on to another, this Rayquaza scene is a bit more, let's say, Pokemon niche tier. For those that know what this is, I think you'd be happy for the most part. This is officially the first set that has a Pokemon minifig that's going to be officially released. We are going to get more in that crazy giant Pokeball later this year. As for Rayquaza itself, it's built out of these big bendy tubes, so you're going to get these sharp angles where you would want more of a smooth curve. The scene below is minimal, but it does look good, and it's going to hold Rayquaza up, so it makes sense to have it. I think diehard fans will be happy, and everyone else can probably wait. As some of you know, I was a huge fan of the Pac-Man arcade that we had a few years ago, and to this day, those mechanisms still blow my mind. This time around, we're getting a Donkey Kong arcade machine, which has a few of its own tricks up its sleeve. You can make the Mario character, which was known as a Jumpman at this time, you can make him jump up. And you can make him move from side to side to avoid the barrels that come rolling down. This is the crazy part, and this is from what I understand, but I guess the barrels loop forever without having to refill anything. You just keep playing and jumping and barrels keep rolling down, and that's cool. I kind of want to see how that's put together. From the reviews that I've looked through, I'm seeing that it does have some large stickers across the set that were a disappointment, especially for the Donkey Kong and Pauline characters. Surprisingly, I'm going to mark this down as a wait for sale. I'm probably going to pick it up sometime this year, but I would tell my friends to wait. Okay, moving on. This one is unofficially for adults, but we are getting this Technic Batmobile tumbler, which can be controlled by an app. It'll control the Batmobile and even turn on the lights, which is pretty sweet. Now, I collect the Batmobiles, so you would think that this is an easy one. However, I see that it's hovering around $200, and I suddenly became financially responsible. When I recently ranked this classic Jaguar car in my recent video, I gave it a silver ranking. Looking at it for a while longer, maybe I had it a tier too low. The fabric roof is such a nice touch, and I do think that the design is excellent. If you're into classic cars at all, I think this will be definitely an easy buy. We also have this 17-inch tall set that celebrates the Day of the Dead. It's got a beautiful design. I'm just not sure how well this is going to sell, so I feel like it might get discounted before too long. So let's say to wait on this one, but I can definitely see this being a purchase. Okay, jumping into some hobby picks. If you collect the minifig scale Star Wars stuff, we have a few from the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that are hitting shelves. I did build this iconic shuttle and had a great time. It's got some cool mechanisms, and it's a good looking model. All three have decent designs, and we've seen these prices creep up in this line for a while now, so being a bit picky isn't a bad thing, but these are still cool for your hobby. And in the $100 to $200 price range, if you're looking for some industrial things to add to your city, these construction sets are a solid pickup. The Harbor Freight Train is also solid and relatively reasonably priced for what you get. These are already out elsewhere, but they're finally making their way to the US. Now, if you're looking for larger gifts for One Piece fans, we do have this castle scene. It does seem a bit simplistic to me personally, but I'm not as familiar with the source material here, so, it might be alright. And we do also have this battleship that's probably going to be a fun build. I mean, usually any type of pirate type set is going to be awesome. And I would say that the minifigs that you get with these have a ton of character packed in, so that's also cool. If you are looking for a Pokemon Smart Play set that has the Smart Bricks and Charger included, this might be the way to go, and then later tack on the other ones. And you know, these Ninjago character displays aren't technically for adults, but I did buy one last year and had such a great time with it. They're a lot larger than you think and really satisfying to put together, so you know, something to keep in mind for even yourself, especially if you grew up with the franchise. As we move into the priciest tier, we're going to start with the Technic line's newest supercar at a larger scale. At over 4,000 pieces, it's the biggest one that they have ever made. And check this out, the headline feature is what they call Ghost Mode. You basically lift the back to open the doors and the hood all at once, and the mirrors even fold out as it goes. And a lot of you will be happy there's not a single sticker in the entire set. It is going to set you back $450, and you know, these are a challenging and rewarding build for car enthusiasts. So I would say that this is still a buy if this is your thing. Just know that these regularly hit a discount later down the road, so there's no rush. Still a very cool model though. I've looked at this arcade pinball machine pretty extensively, and here's the pattern that I've seen. It's definitely a fun set, and the pinball mechanics actually work on here, which is great. It seems like some reviewers had a hard time getting the scoring mechanism to work reliably. So it's pinball, but you're on the honor system. And that's definitely not going to fly in my household. My wife is pretty competitive. I could see it going on sale sooner than later and even retire relatively quickly, so let's mark it as a wait for sale. It is a neat concept though, and it's cool that we have one. The new LEGO art piece in this batch is the iconic painting, The Kiss. It is $300, but it'll keep you busy for a while. That said, this has a lot of tiny pieces, so it's going to test your patience depending on how you handle that sort of thing. I know sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind if it gets a bit too tedious. If you're a fan of this, yeah, definitely buy it, but I am going to say wait for a sale mostly because I think it's going to hit that niche audience and it might head toward retirement sooner than you would expect. But I could be totally wrong about that. We'll see. Okay, as an F1 fan myself, I'm gonna mark this Aston Martin as a pass, and here's why. We have pretty much had all the popular teams at this point, and I had my fill with the top tier ones already. So if you're collecting the entire F1 grid, or if this is your team, then it's a buy, and no one can argue that. I just don't know at this point if I'm the guy for this sort of thing anymore. We are also getting this huge tower bridge model from the architecture line. Now, it's smaller than the one that we had years ago, and that's kind of the point. The old one kind of squeezed the middle section to make it fit, and this one doesn't. If you already have the old one, I'm not sure if this is enough to get another one. But if you don't, this is your chance to build one that's a bit more polished, and I would mark this as a buy. Let me know what you're picking up or passing up on in the comments, and hopefully this was helpful and gets you prepared for this month. Thanks for joining me on this as always, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next one.